This is a tutorial on the Download Custom Subset task. When you want to save your own subset of the data from the archived SDA dataset so you can use it with other statistical packages, you can click on Download Custom Subset. You will then see a series of tabs in the right-hand panel. These tabs walk you through the process of creating your own copy of the data. This video demonstrates how this works. On the File Options tab, we choose how we want the subset data to be formatted and what statistical packages we want SDA to generate the metadata for. Here under Type of Data File to create, we have text file with no extra blanks, text file with a blank between the variables, and a CSV file or comma-separated values file. And this would include a header record which would have the names of the variables in the columns. Okay, let's select text file with a blank between variables. If we want more information about these formats, we can always click on these blue links that will open up a help file for us and give us more information. We have the option to include a codebook. This is just an ASCII text file that has each variable in the subset and information about it, often the category values and labels and so on. And finally, we have data definitions for various statistical systems. Let's include SAS, SPSS, Stata, and SDA's own metadata format. Okay, let's go on to select cases. Here we can limit the records that are put out in the subset. We're using the GSS cumulative file. Let's say we just want to include the last couple of years for GSS, so we can enter the variable year, which is year of interview, and we'll put 2010 and 2012. GSS is only administered in even-numbered years, so this would give us the last 2 years for GSS. If we want to filter this further, we could add more filter expressions out here. Okay, let's go on to select variables. Here we have a couple of different options for selecting the variables that are in our subset. There's a text box where we can enter the names of variables that we want to include in the subset. And if we want to include variables that aren't in the original data set but that were created through using Recode or Compute, then we have to enter them in this text box. If we want to remind ourselves of what variables have been created, either we've created or other people have created, we can just go over to the List Created Variables tab and look at the names here to see what's available. Okay, let's go back to Download Custom Subset. So I know that there's an age for C variable, age for categories, that's a recode of the original age variable. I want to include that in my subset. Now I want to include variables from the original data set as well. Usually the easiest way to do that is to come down here and click on Display Variable Selection Tree. That shows us a tree with the topics, subtopics, and variables. It actually has the same format and content as the variable tree over here, with the one difference that it also has checkboxes that you can use to select the variables that you want. Okay, let's we just want to choose a few variables for this demonstration. For case identification in year, let's choose year, the year of interview, and under respondent background variables there's age, gender, race, and ethnicity. Subtopic, let's just include age, sex, and race. Here's education topic, and we'll just include EDUC, the highest year of school completed. Okay, once we've selected variables from the tree, it's often very helpful to click on this other button, Show List of Variables Selected from Tree. And it does what you would expect. It shows us the variables that we've just selected from the tree. If you're choosing a lot of variables and choosing them not individually but by clicking on whole branches of the tree, then you really do want to look at that list of variables because it's easy to select a lot of variables with just a couple of clicks. Okay, let's go on to Create Files. This shows us the options that we've chosen in the previous tabs. It shows us the files that we asked to create under File Options. We asked for a data file with blanks between the variables and a codebook, various metadata formats. Under Select Cases, we made a filter to just include 2010 and 2012 records. And finally, under Select Variables, we can click this button. It will show us a list of all the variables that will be included in our subset. Just notice something here. Here we have the variables that we chose from the tree, the original variables, and also this includes any variables that we typed into the text box. We typed in H4C, that was the recoded variable. And finally, it includes the case ID variable. The subset procedure always includes the case ID variable as the first variable in the subset. Okay, we're going to get 7 variables in our subset. Let's close this. If we've looked at these options and we want to make changes, we can just go back to any of the previous tabs, make changes, come back here again. When we're happy with our choices, we can just click on Create Files. Okay, the subset has been made. We can see it tells us that our subset includes 7 variables for 4,018 cases or 4,018 records. This is a smaller number than the original because of our select cases here. We're just getting 2010, 2012. Down here, these are buttons where we actually can download the files that we chose. And also there's one other download here. This is a zip file or zip archive that contains all of the individual files. So when we do the download, we can actually download them individually, or we can just download the zip archive itself. Now when you click on one of these downloads, what happens will depend on what browser you're using. If, for example, you're using Internet Explorer, when you click on the button, you'll see a kind of preview of the contents of that file, and then you can choose a Save As to save that file to your local disk. I'm on Safari on a Mac. It's a little different. If I click on Data File, it visually shows me that I'm downloading this file. Over here, I'm going to open that file off screen here, and it will show up here. This is the data file. We can see what it looks like, the case ID, the other variables that we chose with blanks in between. Let me just show the SPSS file. Okay, I'll go over here and open that just to take a look. And here's the SPSS metadata file. We can see the variables that we chose. Okay, and that's all there is to using Download Custom Subset.